All right. So make your feet parallel where you're seated. And then relax your shoulders. And when we sit often in the chair, I had a private with one of my students earlier this week, and she was talking about feeling when she's sitting in her chair, she feels a lot of tension at the inner groin. And so we worked with that a little bit and seated. And what she found, and so I'll just share this with you, is that if she rolled just slightly behind the sit bones, this became a lot softer for her. So it wasn't feeling tense and tight when seated. So you might experiment with how far you tilt the pelvis forward, where does the spine lengthen, but not add tension at the front of the groins. And then you're welcome to close your eyes. To allow your attention to drop more inward. And then can you bring the breath in through the nose? And you're welcome to take an exhale out like a straw, like you're blowing out a straw. The inhale back in through the nose. And the exhale, we'll do 2 more of the exhales. You pierce the lips like a straw and blow out that straw. And slow the exhale down. And then just see, can you bring the breath in through the nose? And see if you can take it back out the nose without any strain or anxiety. If you feel any anxiousness, then just take it back out that straw exhale out the mouth. And notice if the shoulders tensed up, if you're trying to sit upright and vertical, if you ended up tensing up through the shoulders, and if so, can you release, relax, let go of trying to hold the body up with like the sleeve of your body. And notice, is the breath smooth? Can you make your breath smooth? And we can even imagine that with the breath, we are like clearing space within our bodies. And maybe we're making more space in the mind by keeping our focus on our breathing. And then you can let go of controlling your breath, just releasing any control, but can you keep your focus on where you feel the breath in your body and just how the body is being breathed? And then bring the hands up in front of your heart. When the day comes, we step out of the shade, aflame and unafraid. The new dawn blooms as we free it, for there's always light, if only we're brave enough to see it. If only we're brave enough to be it. Taking one more deep inhale. And then with your next exhale, you can bow your head towards your heart. And then release the hands and lift your gaze. And I want to take a moment to just acknowledge each of you for taking, for coming and taking time in your practice this morning, because it's very easy, especially when we practice at home. It can be very distracting within our environment because we're like, we see all these things we could be doing or all these things that we want to take care of. And it takes a lot of self-discipline to go, all right, I'm not going to take care of those things right now. I'm going to do this. I'm going to take and this yoga practice, even though there's not the level of perfection, so to speak, that I'd like around me right now. That you take the time just to prioritize this time for yourself and for your practice. So nice job. All right. So let's just remember this space that we've been working with over the past. So we've been working with a space from, we were going like, okay, where's the breastbone? Where's the top of the breastbone? Where are the collarbones? And above the collarbones. So we're working through not just along the breastbone, so you might feel like, okay, where is that? But also above the collarbones, where is that? So now we're going to come up to standing, and we're going to open at the front of the chest. So we're going to walk over to a wall, and if you'll take, you can face the wall first, and take your right hand to where is, if the hand was a clock hand, where is about 2 o'clock? So reach the hand out at a 45-degree angle there. There's 2 o'clock. And then turn the pelvis, both the feet and your pelvis towards your left. So now the right arm is back behind you at a diagonal. And you might just step the left foot back a little and the right foot forward a little, kind of like you were walking, about that sort of stride. And then look straight ahead. Don't worry, I'll try to talk you through it so you won't need to see the camera. But just bring your gaze like the level of the horizon. And then bring your awareness to the right side of your breastbone. And then if you bring it towards the top of the right side of the breastbone, and there's a muscle that comes across from the top of the breastbone all the way to the inner collarbone. And can you soften that muscle? Let that area lengthen up so that as you let go right there from the top of the right breastbone towards the right inner collarbone, you might feel that all of a sudden you felt the chest lift. And then if you go from the middle of the right side of the breastbone through that big muscle that comes all the way over to the right arm bone, you want to try to soften there. Now I notice that my right hand is tingling right now, but I'm going to just let it be for a moment and just take a couple more breaths. And then I'll step my right foot back and turn towards the wall and bring my right arm down. And was it hard to lower my right arm? Yeah, kind of. And then I'm gonna just notice how my arms are hanging. And then I'm gonna take my left arm up and I'm gonna go, if this is the 9 o'clock, there's 10 o'clock, and put my left hand there. And then turn both feet to the right, the pelvis to the right. I'm gonna step my right foot back, my left foot forward a little, like I'm walking. I'm a good foot away from my wall there. And bring the gaze up so that it's about that my eyes would be looking towards the horizon. Or I can close my eyes if that makes it easier for me to place my awareness to the left side of my breastbone. And if you go to the top third of the left side of the breastbone, and in that tissue, it goes up to the inner collarbone. So can you soften right there? So you put your awareness there and then just soften that area. And see if when you do, you actually feel the chest begin to lift a little. And then you drop down to the rest of the breastbone on the left. And that big muscle that comes all the way across to the arm bone. And you soften that. And again, you might feel, oh my gosh, I feel myself lifting up a little bit by letting go there. Take another deep breath. And then with the exhale, you can turn towards the wall. And then you release both arms down. And you just notice, wow, how do my arms hang now? What do they feel like dangling at my sides? All right, and then let's just take for a moment, both arms straight ahead, the wrists at about the height of your shoulders. And then let's step the left foot back and the right foot back. We're gonna reach all the way to the hands. And when I reach to my hands, my rib cage goes away from my hands. My rib cage reaches toward my pelvis. All right, and then I'm gonna step forward towards the wall and take my arms back down and walk back over to where I was. If I have my yoga mat out, I'm gonna walk back onto it. And just let my arms dangle. So what Kelly was referring to was we were working through, so if you take your left hand, you walk out your collarbone, and you really gotta follow it. You gotta stay on it. You walk all the way out, and you feel how the collarbone has it's not like a straight collarbone, right? It has a curve in it. Stay on top of the collarbone. Keep walking out it, because as it gets to the edge, it becomes a little more like, whoa, what's happening? And I'm gonna find that space between my collarbone and this part of my shoulder blade. I'm gonna find that space. Okay, and I'm gonna put my fingers there so I can really find it, that little corner. Then I'm gonna release my arms down. And let's lift your right arm up. And then can you roll up a little bit from the top of the right collarbone towards the throat. And then can you remember where that little corner was? You just had your fingers. And can you reach it to all the way up towards your hand? And then we'll relax that arm down. And then we're gonna go to the other side. We're gonna palpate this area. We're gonna go across the collarbone. We're gonna find that corner. We're gonna walk out. This is a different collarbone. It's had a little different life, more different responsibilities on this other side. I'm gonna find that corner, which it's a lot, that tissue in there is not soft and squishy, but it's squishy, but it's not like super squishy, right? Then I'm gonna let that arm dangle, and I'm gonna lift that arm up. So the palm is facing towards my midline. So it's actually facing, towards the opposite wall. And I'm gonna lift from the top of the left collarbone. I'm gonna roll that up. And then I'm gonna reach that corner to my hands so my arm can be straight. And lengthening all the way up towards my hands. Like that. Kelly, keep going. You had it there. That's it. And then, Anne, what about the left elbow? And what about the left wrist? Can you line up the back there better? Yeah, so that it lines up with your forearm so that you don't end up torquing your wrist. We have to, okay, and then let's lower this down. Well, this is so fun to see you all doing this. So let me say one thing about this. In order for us to be able to take our arms up, this part, this upper part has to be, we have to let go of it. And that's not an easy task because these upper trapezius tend to want to be tightly held. And sometimes we have a habit of trying to lift our arms from here. And that's not gonna pick up our arms. It actually, when this is tight, our arm cannot go any higher. It can't go up because this is in the way. That has to flow back. It has to let go and roll back. So let's come up to maybe standing, sometimes standing, but sitting's okay. And we're gonna take both arms this time. And we're gonna reach them straight ahead and palms face each other. And even here, I can reach to my fingers. I can broaden across my upper back as I reach to my fingers. And then now, as I start to lift my arms, I want to let this front part roll up and the back part roll down. That looks, so Eileen, that looks different. That looks like you've relaxed that upper back better. And Kelly, this is remarkable. You have made great strides in this movement of your arms. Good, that's it. There you go, that's it, Annie. Yep, and this is good, and your wrist is in much better alignment with your forearm. And then we're gonna relax the arms straight in front of us and back. Okay, nice job. It's hard to figure out how does all this work, right? Let's take a seat. Sometimes when we start moving the arms around, we start feeling the back. We're gonna take a twist. So if there's no arms on your chair, you're gonna walk your feet over to your right side. And you're gonna make the feet parallel. And your left sit bone is just, barely on the chair seat. Just barely on the chair seat. And then you lengthen up through the top of the head. And as you exhale, keeping the knees the same and the pelvis the same, you're gonna turn towards the back of the chair. So the right hand can just find a chair somewhere, and the left hand maybe comes across to the outer right thigh. And then I'm gonna go to the top of the breastbone and the top of the collarbone on the right. And I'm gonna see, can I just roll that up towards my throat as I turn towards the back of my chair.
Do I look like Lynn?
Yes, you do. Yeah. Yeah.
And then we'll exhale, come back to center. Rest both hands in your lap and take a deep breath in. And then we'll walk around and do the other side. Now, if there's arms on my chair, I just stay pointing forward, no problem. Otherwise, I'll walk around to the other side.
You were here last week for this, were you?
And then we're gonna lengthen up through the crown of your skull. And with your next exhale, you're turning towards the left. So left hand comes around somewhere on the chair, right hand comes across to the outer left thigh. And with the next exhale, as I turn towards your left, as you turn towards your left, can you bring your attention just above the left inner collarbone? And from there, lift as you turn. Lifting right above that collarbone on the left. This is great, Annie. This is so good because you've got more rotation than you've been having, which is really, really nice to see. Great. Good, everyone. And then we're going to turn back to center and rest the hands on the tops of the thighs and sitting up tall, just noticing. As you take your breath, just noticing. And then let's walk around and face forward again. So one part of like what we're learning, just about these places in our body that maybe we've never put our attention before. But the other really great benefit that I see in putting my awareness in these different places in my body is it's actually helping me practice being present. Just being completely present at that moment, in that place, trying not to go to the past or the future, but trying to cultivate just being in that moment, which is not an easy task for us. We're all over the place. So you could also think of it as this discipline that you're trying to cultivate in the mind and to learn more about your whole inner body, yourself. All right, so let's come back up to standing. And let's take the chair, and we'll take the back of the chair facing us. All right. And let's take your, let's see, where am I going? All right. We're gonna take a side angle pose. So we're gonna step the feet wide apart. And I can take a moment and just notice, is the left foot under the seat of your chair? Because that will be helpful so that you don't have to, reach. And is the right leg back? Okay. And then I'm going to look down. I want you to look down at your left foot, your left knee. And now you're going to bend your left knee. And can you track the left knee so it points toward the second and third toe? So that there won't be any strain on the knee because we're pointing it towards the second and third toe, lengthening through the inner thigh. And I also can notice, is my knee past my ankle? If it is, then I should take a longer stance. So my knee is just a little behind my ankle. And then I'm going to straighten my leg again. So I'm trying to one more time, I'm going to look at my knee and I'm trying to get an awareness about this path that when I bend my knee, it goes towards my second and third toe. And when I straighten it, it tracks right back. And so do that a couple times. Track the knee toward the second and third toe. Straighten the leg again. And again, so you get this idea of what does that feel like when you take the knee towards that second and third toe? And you might even, and if it's okay, Eileen, just take the feet a little wider. All right, and then we're gonna take this stance, and we're gonna turn it into a side angle. So let's take the right hand on your hip. And with the next exhale, you're going to take your pelvis, point it towards the back foot, and bring the front knee towards the second and third toe. I've got my forearm on the back of the chair. And then I'm gonna also come into the space above the right collarbone, and I'm gonna roll that up towards my throat. And I'm gonna take the right arm, drop it down, palm facing my body, and bring it up alongside my right ear. Reaching all that way. When I really reach toward my fingers, I notice the space at my side body gets longer. And then I'm gonna release my arm down, and then I'll straighten my leg, turn my front foot in, and then I'll bring my feet back together. Any questions about that? I'm gonna move my chair to the other side. And I'm gonna step my feet apart again. So most of the time, what I see in most people is that we don't step our feet wide enough. Most of the time, our stance is very, very narrow. So I'll encourage you to take it wide, to turn the right foot to go straight under the seat of the chair. The left foot turns in a little. And then I'm gonna look down at my knee, and I'm gonna bend my front knee and watch that I point it towards my second and third toe. I'm gonna straighten it again. And I'm gonna do that a few more times, nice and slow. So I could also think about this movement of this joint, even though I keep reaching into my back heel, as a way of, can I lubricate my joint? As I bend my front knee like this, with awareness about what direction it's going, maybe I can add some hydration into this whole area. So I'm trying to lay down this path of how my knee tracks. Okay, then I'm gonna straighten both legs. And then take another deep inhale, and this time, as I exhale, first I bend my front knee slightly, and now I'm gonna start to take my pelvis, point it towards my back foot, bring my forearm onto the back of the chair, my hand on my hip. So my back foot has a slight turn in, and my front inner thigh is long, so that my knee is pointing towards my toes. And then I can go to that space above the left collarbone and roll it up, release it up. Reach into the left heel, and then drop that arm down, bring it up, reach all the way to my hand. And again, I'm gonna go and roll that above the left collarbone. And then inhale, I'm gonna come all the way up, straighten my front leg, turn my front foot in, and bring my feet back to center again. Okay, now I'm gonna turn towards the back of my chair. And I'm gonna stand close to the chair, close. And if, I guess we all have different heights chairs, so we'll do this first. I stand close to my chair, and then I'm gonna step my right foot back. So I have a lunge. When I do this, I'm gonna look at my front knee. I'm gonna make sure it's not past my front ankle. That my front knee is just behind my front ankle. And then I'm also gonna reach all the way into the right heel. My hands are on the back of the chair, and I notice like there's a little stretch at the front of my thigh on the back leg. You feel that?
Yes.
And yes, there we go. So the back heel can be lifted. And then I might lift at the right above the breastbone there. Do a little lift. How's your breathing? And then I'm going to inhale, and I'm going to press into the front heel, straighten that leg a moment, and then I'm going to push and step forward. And then I'm going to step the other leg back. So I'm in a lunge on the second side. I can pull my chair in as close as I want to, just so that I have some support, that I don't have to lean way forward. It doesn't feel really far away. And I'm going to reach back very actively into my back heel, the one that's lifted. Because when I do, I feel this stretch at the front of the thigh on the back leg. I notice my front knee should be pointed towards my second and third toe. And then I'm going to drop into breathing. And then I'm going to step forward. Step forward. All right. Now I'm going to turn my chair around so the seat of the chair is facing me. And I'm going to bow down to the seat of this chair. I might step my feet back a little bit, so I'm kind of, I'm not so close that it feels like the chair's in my way. And I want to have my knees straight. So can I straighten my knees so that my legs are straight? And I might have the chair so that my wrists are kind of under my shoulders. So I want to keep my knees straight, my legs straight. So for some of us, that means we're gonna have the arms straight and legs straight. Only if you don't need to bend your knees do you you bend the elbows and bring the chest a little closer and maybe come to the forearms. This is pretty much genetics though, so don't force it. But some of you will have enough length in the hamstrings that you're able to bring the forearms down. And I'm going to soften through the back of my body too. I'm going to soften through the front of the chest and the collarbone. And then I'm going to come back up onto my hands. Inhale, lengthening up through the crown of my skull. And then I'm going to push away from my chair a little bit, hands to my hips, and come back up to standing. And bring my hands back in front of my heart. Relax my arms. And inhale, lift my arms straight ahead and all the way up. And exhale and bring the hands back in front of the heart. Release my hands, and I can either inhale them straight ahead and up and lift through the top of the breastbone. Exhale, bring the hands back down in front of the heart. And then one more time. Inhale, lift both arms. And exhale, hands down in front of the heart. And then releasing the hands. And then let's take another seat on the chair. And we'll sit forward. And we'll kind of take, it's almost like like as if we were on all fours in a way, but we're not. We're seated, so we don't have to put all that weight on our arms and our knees. But first, what we're going to do is we're going to take our hands behind us and grab onto a part of the chair. And keeping the hands there and the feet hip distance and parallel. I'm going to just start to lift again right at the top of the breastbone. Lifting up. Lifting as if I could lift from my heart towards the top of my breastbone, all the way up towards my throat. And then with the next exhale, I'm going to release. Remember this one? Bring my arms all the way forward, round my back like I'm hugging a great big ball. Take my palms away. Inhale, swim myself all the way back up to the surface. Lift through the top of the chest. Bring my hands back. Exhale, go forward again. So now you're going to work with the movement of the breath. You're moving your spine. You're inhaling like swimming all the way up. And the exhale, as if you're coming forward and hugging something great, big, lengthen, and round the whole back. And then the inhale, the opposite direction, lifting above the collarbones. Exhaling, hugging low. So I even tuck my pelvis under when I come around to hug. 2 more on your own. When I come back, I even open my palms away, and the exhale, I'm hugging in. The last one. All right, and then I'm going to release my hands to my lap, rest my hands down. And then can we take your left arm, drop it down and kind of grab on just to somewhere easy on the chair. Lengthen up through the top of the head. And we're just take a very simple twist towards the left. So the right hand might come across to the outer knee. And then we're going to come back to center, both hands. We'll inhale, tall. The exhale, right hand comes back, left hand comes across. I want to be broad across the whole back of my pelvis, from the center of my pelvis all the way to the right, and from the center of my pelvis all the way, center of my pelvis, both directions, all the way to the right and all the way to the left. Come back to center. We're going to do that one more time. So in other words, the back of the pelvis broadens. I don't want it to be narrowing on one side. It's staying stable and wide. So one more time, when we inhale at center, and then as we exhale, we're going to turn towards your left. So at the back of the pelvis, keep it broad towards your left, even though that's the direction you're turning towards. So this turn is coming more, it's in the upper back. And then we come back to center. We inhale in center. And then we exhale, we go the other way. And as we go, we watch out because sometimes you're turning towards the right. The right side of the pelvis wants to go with you. But I'm asking you to broaden that right side of the pelvis towards the right so that it's not going with you. This turn is above that. And then we come back to center. And now seated, we're up on the very edge of the chair, but you're going to lean back in your chair. So you kind of feel like you're slouching right now. So you're in this slouch yoga pose. And you're going to bring the right knee towards the chest. So can you let the right sit bone come like it's going towards the back of your knee? And then we'll put the right foot back on the ground. And we'll bring the left knee up. Let the left sit bone come under you. And then we'll put that back and we'll do one more on the other side. Exhaling as it comes closer. Inhaling will take it away. And then exhaling will bring the other one up. And the inhale will take it away. Great. And then we sit ourselves back. All right. Okay, so now we're going to come to the ground. Or if you're going to stay seated, I can give you some instructions for that. But otherwise, I'm going to come to standing. I'm going to turn the seat of my chair so that it'll face me. And I might want to put a blanket on the ground. And I certainly want there to be some padding or a pillow that's going to go under the back of my head. I want to stretch the outer hip when we come down so that when I come to the ground now, and I scoot a little towards my chair, and I make sure that I have something under my head, I'm going to slide the left calf onto the chair, bring the right outer heel to the top of that thigh, the left thigh, and then I'll just slide that left thigh towards me to wherever is, the right distance for a stretch at the right outer hip. I've got my arms out to the sides, my palms are up to the ceiling so that I'm not using my arms right now. And I might shift my weight just a tiny bit towards the left so that I'm not going to put more weight on that side that's getting a stretch. And I might say to myself, I could do this every day. Wonder what that would be like if I did this every day. And then we'll release that right one. We'll bring the right leg to the chair seat. We'll take the left heel to the top of the thigh, and then I might slide my right thigh towards my body as much as is the right amount for the stretch I'm getting somewhere on that left outer hip or leg or whatever. And as I'm lying here with my palms up to the ceiling, I might also kind of relax that space that's at the top of my collarbones, relaxing it towards, the throat or the upper back or the upper shoulders. And then I'll slide my right calf, my right heel back onto that chair. Just take a moment in the middle here. And then can you slide both knees toward you. And then you're going to take your hands, you take the feet from the chair and you take the hands so the knees are wide apart and the hands are either behind the knees or hands might grab onto the shins or ankles. So my feet might be pointing up towards the ceiling. We call this dead bug pose, or sometimes it's called happy baby pose, whichever. And then let's bring the soles of the feet toward each other and put them on the edge of the chair, the knees wide apart. So I have the soles of the feet are toward each other. They don't have to be touching. And my knees are wide apart for a moment. And then I'm going to bring my knees toward each other and slide my calves onto the seat of the chair. Try to get the whole calf supported. And then I'm going to just take resting. I'll put my arms wherever's comfortable. And once again, I'm going to allow my body kind of like, oh gosh, what are those little things called? Like where the sand is dripping through the timer. Just kind of like letting my body settle, like as if I took a snow globe and I shook it up, and now I'm just going to let it all settle. Or how if there's some light and fluffy snow that falls, sometimes it falls when there's no wind. It just falls and drifts so softly down. So I let my inner body as if it can rest and release into the ground. And as Amanda Gorman said, when the day comes, we step out of the shade, aflame and unafraid. The new dawn blooms as we free it, where there is always light, if only we're brave enough to see it, if only we're brave enough to be it. So as you deepen your breath, and then you'll slide the legs from the seat of the chair and roll yourself down to one side. Use the support of your arms and press yourself back up to sitting. And then bringing your hands together in front of your heart. Namaste.
Namaste.
Thank you, everyone.
Thank you.
Thank you, Lynn, as I rush off to my next meeting.